Recently I put out a poll to vote for my next video and you guys voted for Dead Cells is a 2018 roguelike Metroidvania game developed by Motion Twin and Evil Empire. If you don't know what that means, it is basically a dungeon crawl that you have to experiment with and progress further into the game as you develop your skills. I'd been living under a rock too apparently though, and had not heard of this game until late last year. With a 7 out of 10 difficulty too, it wasn't going to be an easy platinum trophy. But I pick up my first trophy for simply leaving the starting area and visiting one of the other locations. Scattered across the game are runes you can pick up. These give you access to certain features that help with the traversal of the game. Picking up the rune for climbing vines unlocked me my second trophy. After that I headed to the ramparts for the first time. No, not the Apex Legends character. I don't even know how to segue from such a poor joke, but I get my 4th trophy for reaching my first boss fight. You might be wondering, did I kill it? No, I got my cheeks clapped. Jumping straight back into another run, I managed to finish the first area in under 2 minutes, unlocking my next trophy, followed seconds later by heading to the toxic sewers for the first time for another trophy. I stuck my hand in a chest and it cursed me. Basically, I get some free loot, but I have to kill the next 10 enemies without getting hit, otherwise I die instantly.
I don't blame you. Damn good deal.
Surviving the curse unlocks me another trophy. Back at the first boss with some unfinished business, I take it down this time, which means I unlocked another trophy and can now progress towards the second boss. After this I got 4 simple trophies, for picking up another rune, entering 2 new locations for the first time, and finding a hidden area. There are mutations in the game. These are little effects you can choose to help you throughout your game, and the next trophy is tied to dying with a specific mutation active that prevents me from dying. It's a one-time use though, otherwise it wouldn't be a very hard game. After this I unlocked 10 weapons by delivering blueprints to the guy called the Collector, before making it to the clock room for another location based trophy. The clock room is home to the Timekeeper, which is a tier 2 boss. Taking down the Timekeeper gave me another trophy. I remember thinking at this point the game is not that difficult and I didn't understand why it had such a high difficulty rating. I couldn't have been more wrong. Moving on for now though, I got a trophy for reaching the castle for the first time. At the end of the castle waits the throne room. Entering the throne room unlocked me a trophy, and there waiting for me was the final boss. I didn't really have a plan in mind and channeled my inner Leroy Jenkins and prayed for the best outcome. To my surprise, it worked. I took down the final boss, completing the game for the first time and getting an additional trophy. If you haven't played the game you might be wondering, I thought you said this game was hard. That is literally just a tutorial. By grabbing my first boss cell, I can now replay the game on a harder difficulty, introducing new enemies and reducing the total healing available to me in the game. Before I tackled the new difficulty, it was time to grind some easy trophies, starting with the daily challenge, followed by collecting another rune before heading to a new location for another trophy. Shortly afterwards, we picked up another rune, unlocked 10 skills from the Collector, and got trophies for visiting the ancient sewers and the Insufferable Crypt for the first time. The Insufferable Crypt is home to a boss called Conjunctivius, and taking him down for the first time unlocked me another trophy. It was still a pretty easy fight because I'm playing on the lowest difficulty, but we found a new location, picked up another rune before finding 3 more locations for 3 more trophies. My general plan was to try and leave all the difficulty based trophies till the very end so I could get all the easy ones, and next I had to kill myself with an elevator for another trophy. Thankfully I'm not that clapped at the game and didn't manage to do it on accident. Speaking of elevators, we took out an enemy with one for another trophy before slamming onto some spikes for an additional trophy. I'm quite surprised actually that I didn't do this one by accident earlier. Up next I had to collect 100 of the in-game currency cells and then kill myself with it to unlock another trophy. After doing that I only had one easy trophy left, and that was to complete a challenge rift. These are simply parkour puzzles that you have to complete and you get some loot for doing so, but more importantly I got another trophy. With that out the way, I would consider that to be the last easy trophy, and the rest of the 16 are all difficulty based, but we grabbed the original starting weapon from the spawn, and this is important for a trophy. To get the next trophy I have to beat the game using the starting weapon I picked up. Although it sounds daunting, you can hold 2 weapons, so you just pick up a normal weapon in your other slot and keep hold of the starting weapon the entire game. After beating the final boss again, the credits roll and we cross off another trophy from the list. I actually forgot about this trophy and it wasn't meant to be my next one, but I killed my 100th elite enemy for the next trophy. These are just slightly tougher versions of normal enemies. By this point I'd done most of what I wanted to do on 0 BC and it was time to tackle 1 BC. The jump from 0 to 1 isn't actually that bad, and there are only minor changes in regards to enemies and the healing you're given, so the difficulty increase isn't actually that much. For this 1 BC run, I was actually able to knock out 3 trophies at once. I'd picked up the mutation I discussed earlier that prevents death. One of the trophies left involves finishing a run with it without it triggering, and I get 2 trophies for absorbing my next boss cell and beating the game with 1 boss cell active. So I was able to get 3 trophies in 1 run. While these trophies play, I'll use this time to discuss 2 BC. The biggest changes from 1 BC to 2 BC is the removal of all health fountains from passages. This basically means there's a lot less healing compared to 1 BC, so there's a lot less room for mistakes as well. It was still taking me time to learn and improve, obviously, because I'd never played this game before attempting it for this video. And there was some failed attempts, especially on the final boss. But the game, for me anyway, never left me feeling frustrated, but rather motivated every time I failed. And after a couple hours of trying, I was able to beat 2 BC and grab the trophy for absorbing the next boss cell and beating the game on 2 BC. I'm sure you know what's next. 3 BC. In this difficulty, healing is reduced again, so you have even less room for mistakes. At this point, this difficulty was actually quite a challenge for me, because I was basically having to cram weeks, if not months worth of playing experience and knowledge into several days to try and get this video out as quick as possible. It would take me about a day straight of grinding to actually be able to beat this difficulty, but when I did finally beat it, it gave me 2 more trophies. When I first entered 4 BC, I couldn't even clear the first room consistently without taking too many hits. Most of the enemies in the game can now teleport towards you, and the detection range of all mobs has been increased, so you can get swarmed very quickly if you don't plan fights correctly. Unlike the other flaw, passages between rooms now give you no healing at all, so you're limited to 2 food items per room and a flask if you can afford to buy it from the shop. So the room for mistakes is yet again significantly smaller. To get to the end of the game, I was now having to play at a high standard for well over an hour each game, and sometimes I would literally fail and die 5 minutes before the final boss. It took me literally 3 whole days of nothing but playing 4 BC all day to even come close to beating it. On the day I beat it, I had 2 back-to-back runs lasting over 80 minutes that I made mistakes on during the final boss and died. But it was an incredible feeling to be able to beat it. To put it into context, according to PlayStation Rarity, only 2.5% of all players have ever beaten 4 BC. I'm so glad there isn't a trophy related to the highest difficulty, otherwise this video would have taken me so much longer to make. But yeah, after killing the boss, we finished the game and the credits roll for the final difficulty based trophy. This is probably the last time you have to listen to me rant too, because from here it's pretty much smooth sailing and I can drop back down to the lowest difficulty to grab the remaining trophies. 3 of the next 4 trophies involve me beating each boss without taking a hit. This sounds hard, but after playing at higher difficulties for so long it was very simple on the lowest difficulty. Now the second to last trophy requires you to beat the game with a cursed sword. This means you are permanently cursed and taking any hits will kill you instantly. Again, this sounds complex, but with a backpack feature you can just buy the sword in the last area of the game, drop it before the final fight, pick it back up afterwards and finish the game with it. But I was actually able to do it in the same run as the flawless final boss fight, meaning I had only 1 trophy left to get. The final trophy brought me back to the first boss where it all started. To get the final trophy I needed to beat this boss flawlessly. Since it's relatively short, I'll let this fight play out for you anyway, but this is the last trophy we needed to get the platinum trophy. To get this done, I played roughly 100 hours across 10 days, and for my next video I'm going to pick something a bit more casual, but if you have any feedback or ideas, please let me know.